This is a scale model of a very special boat. It's a schooner, 101 foot, named America. It was built in 1850 and it raced 15 yachts of the British Royal Yacht Squadron. It finished 18 minutes ahead of the nearest British vessel. The winning of that race changed history for all time, and we're going to explore more history on SV Just Dreaming. One of the things that changed after the 1851 win of the yacht America was that from that point forward, the race was henceforth renamed the America's Cup race. And it was to be held by a defender and a challenger. So anytime there was a challenger for the reigning champion, then they had to defend the cup. And for 132 years, the New York Yacht Club, uh, working for the United States or on behalf of the United States, defended that title, and it made for an amazing winning streak because thanks to their efforts, that's the 132 years is the longest winning streak of any sporting team or sporting event in the history of mankind. I mean, they won time after time. I think they defended the title around 24 times. And in 1983, they lost the title to a yacht from Australia. And it's been back in the hands of the United States a couple times since then, and bounced around. I think it's in the hands of New Zealand right now. But it's a very fascinating sport to follow. And I got to learn a lot about the sport while touring the Hershoff's museum. Now, John Hershoff was blinded in an accident when he was 15 years old. But in I think it was about 1860, he started a company. At first he fell into a little bit of a depression over his blindness, but he got over that. He started a company to manufacture boats in Bristol, Rhode Island. Now, Bristol is so famous in the sailing world because everyone calls it Bristol fashion. If you really have a boat that is in tip-top shape, it is in Bristol fashion, and it was named. It's one of the things that came from Bristol, from John Hershoff and his brother Nathaniel, and everybody called him Nate. So anyway, we got to tour their manufacturing facility, which is basically a museum at this point, and got to look at some of the 250 plus boats that they built. Just beautiful, absolute works of art. John was just a genius when it came to hull design. Nate joined him in business. I can't remember. I think it was like 20 years after John started the business. He was kind of brought in as the business manager, and the two of them worked together and built a lot of really beautiful boats. But among the boats that they built, and I'm kind of rambling here, but among the boats they built was the Vigilant, which won the America's Cup in 1893, and the Defender, which won the America's Cup in 1895, and the Columbia, which won in 1899 and 1901. They also built the Reliance, which won in 1903, the Resolute, which won in 1920, the Enterprise, probably my favorite, which won in 1930, and the Rainbow, which won the America's Cup in 1934. So they certainly helped the New York Yacht Club hold up their end of the 132-year winning streak. John and Nate also built some of the earliest steamliners that were out. They were innovators in steam engines of all different sizes, and they built torpedo boats for the military. Their skills seem to be endless. Let's get back to where this all began, which is the schooner America. John Cox Stevens is the one that had it commissioned to be built and to race it in the big race in 1851. After that race, Lord John D. Bellacque, he bought it, and he eventually sold it to Lord Templeton. But I think the most unique thing about the schooner America is that it served in the Civil War of the United States for on the Confederate side, and it had a long, illustrious life. It was scrapped in 1945, so it lasted almost 100 years. What a boat! It wasn't built by the Hershoffs, but you know what? They really pay tribute to it because it's where the idea of winning the America's Cup began. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I really enjoy a little bit of history, and as we travel around, it's amazing all the things that we learn. But next time, we're going to be parked in the middle of a whole lot of battleships. They'll all be pointing their guns at us, and we're going to go explore those battleships in Massachusetts. I think you're going to get a real feel for what it was like to be in World War II. I know I did. And yeah, it was pretty intense. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. And in the meantime, thanks for joining SV Just Dreaming, and see you next time.